Hi, welcome to Inside the Moms Club, where being a mom is the coolest place to be. Here in the Moms Club, we believe that what embarrasses you now will make a great story later. And let's face it, you don't laugh sometimes, you're going to cry. Join us in having a good laugh together. I'm Monica Samuels. You are now inside the Moms Club, your private destination for all things mom. Welcome, moms. Welcome to Inside the Moms Club. I'm Monica Samuels, your host, and I'm here with my lovely co-host, Julie Orchid.
Good morning.
Good morning, Julie. Well, we have had quite an adventure. Julie and I almost didn't make it. We're here in Los Angeles. Thank goodness.
Thank gosh.
Because we have been in the frozen tundra of Austin, Texas.
Yes, ma'am.
We had an ice storm.
An ice storm.
Yes.
It was
which
epic.
Is unheard of in Austin. And that part of it wasn't so bad. I mean, the ice wasn't that, there was a little, not that much.
Yeah.
But it knocked all the power out all over the city of Austin. And my house, when I left it, had no power, no heat, no hot water, no internet, no phone. I was walking through my house. There was nothing to do. I mean, it was kind of interesting because I was walking through my house with zero to do with this little Red Cross battery, this thing that you crank to get the light.
Right.
Which, by the way, I sprained my thumb doing that. It was like and now my wrist is bothering me. But anyway, I walked around the house with this flashlight thinking the Pilgrims had it better. Abe Lincoln had it better. I mean, I had no candles. And then someone contacted me and said, well, build a fire, Monica. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a fireplace? I'm like, yes. I have a beautiful fireplace. It's behind glass. And I can do cool things with it. I have a little app that when it's working, like when I have internet, which I didn't, I could make dancing, flames and play music. It's gorgeous. This could be in a hotel lobby. But it puts out no heat, and it's pretty much worthless, so I couldn't build a fire.
It's like insult to injury. They're like, what to do when the power goes out and you have no power when they say it on the news.
Exactly.
So, but I do know what to get you for Christmas. This whole walking around cranking flashlight thing, we can just get you one that has batteries.
Oh, well, don't worry, honey.
Okay.
Here's what I did. I went outside where I could get a little internet, and I got on Amazon, and I ordered every flashlight and camp light that they make.
Yeah.
I even took suggestions. I mean, I'm ready for the next one.
Well, you learn not to take things for granted. I mean, like you love all this stuff and the luxuries of life.
Right. You appreciate modern life and modern conveniences. Now, in the course of all of that, there was a lot of crashing sounds everywhere, which is why we had no power because trees were hitting power lines and things. And my husband and I have an acre lot.
Yeah.
And there were trees crashing. Like we lost 2 big oak trees in our backyard that we love. And that was tragic. But we also had trees crashing from the neighbor's lot where they're building a house. And the guy behind me, his house. And let's just say that trees are no respecter of property rights. And so I now have giant trees, one which has broken my fence. Now, let me tell you a little bit of backstory on that, too. I have a builder building this huge house next to me.
Right.
And he always tells me, like, he did something with his retaining wall. Water was crashing through, ruining my landscaping. It bent my fence.
So you guys are friends.
I was a little mad, so I went and told him. And hey, by the way, I'm an attorney. I don't know if I mentioned that, which I don't mention it often because most times people don't like to have an attorney living near them. Even like next door is the worst for them. But I told him nicely, and finally he was not being very helpful, and he told me that he just didn't know that I was not a good neighbor. Excuse me. First of all, he's not my neighbor. He's a builder building a spec house. But anyway, so we were already dealing with that. Now I have a tree of his.
Yeah.
In my
I can
yard.
kind of see how this is going to go, maybe.
And then I've got another guy behind me, and we had a little dispute when we first moved in because my son did not respect property rights either. And so he and his friends went on that guy's property, and this guy lives in a little cabin in the in the trees. He likes to be alone. But these kids went up and knocked on his cabin door, and that did not go over well. So then next thing we know, we had a huge no trespassing sign that he posted on a tree that faced our yard.
Yeah. Oh.
So I had to call him nicely and like, okay, let's settle
So
this.
you're moving is what you're saying.
Yes, I am. So my house is for sale. Look for it. No, I'm sorry. Well, it may be. But that's the kind of thing that happens. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's bad enough you have this storm, but now we have other issues.
Right.
And you want to deal with them nicely. And I already have a history with these people. Now, you had a tree crash into your...
I did. Massive. It's still hanging on the power
and look
line.
What you did. What did you tell me you did? She offered...
Well, we're going to split it, I think. I mean, my neighbor offered, and I said, this is an act of God. This is not something that, so we're just, I mean, it happens. It happens. So we're going to split it. And,
And you were a nice example to everyone out there, you and your neighbor, because my first inclination was, well, that wasn't your tree that hit, well, what? But see, you're being so nice.
Well, you're an attorney.
You're being nice. So I love it. But so I'm just saying, this storm, we're lucky we're here. We're blessed we're here. We're going to get light. We're going to appreciate it more. Right. Heat and light when we get back home, hopefully, and wherever that home may be, because like I said, I may have to move. But because of all that, we realize another issue that's after the fact, and that is that we may have some legal matters with neighbors that we want to resolve, and we want to know how to resolve them nicely and peacefully. And so we are so lucky today to have as our guest a woman she is the first lawyer in the state of Louisiana to launch her own television court show. It's called Cajun Court TV, and she has a court show that's cooked up Cajun style, and I've watched it, and it absolutely is. It is so much fun. She has a resume as an attorney that, let me just say, is so lengthy and impressive that I would love to cut and paste it and stick it in my own bio.
Right.
Except I know for a fact that if I did that, that's illegal, so I won't do that because I don't want to have any trouble with Justice Jacque.
Incredibly proud.
And so I will introduce her now, the Honorable Justice Jacqueline Scott, known on Cajun Court as Justice Jacque. Welcome to the Moms Club.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I've been watching your shows on YouTube, and they are awesome. I love your style. I love your approach to handling these cases because, as an attorney, I sit back and I watch it, as an attorney, it's like, well, technically that was hearsay and technically that person shouldn't be. But that's not how your court operates.
It's a reality show.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's start at the beginning. How did you produce this yourself? You came up with this yourself. Share with the moms out there, how did this get started? How did Cajun Court, how was it born?
Well, at the time it came into existence, my mother had lupus and had been sick for some time. I graduated from law school, was practicing law. So every time I went to her house, I would see Judge Wapner. And whether or not it doesn't matter. I would go to court, and about 11:30, I'd go there, and Judge Wapner is on. And I would listen. It was a reality show, so I sat there, and I would, every day, she could be on the floor, wherever she was, Judge Wapner was on. And so I started thinking, this is Shreveport, Louisiana, and Judge Wapner gave moral advice on his show. And so with my mom gave moral advice to everybody in the neighborhood. If they had a problem, they came to my mom. And so I was looking and said, I would like to have a show like that in Shreveport, Louisiana. So I looked at the credits. It was in New York, California, and here it is. I said, why can't we have something like that in Louisiana? Yeah. Well, being a novice, I'd never acted before. In court, you before a judge, you don't have a big audience. So it was a little nerve-wracking when I started, but there was a lady who believed in me, and my mom passed away, and I said, well, I miss her. And I said, she would watch Judge Wapner. I would like to have a show. So she said, I can do that. And at the time, she worked for my friend Cheryl Olive, worked for the TV station. She would sell the Wendy Williams, I believe it is, show. And she said, we can do that. And so she commenced to trying to get it together. And then I said, wait a minute. After she had done so much work, I said, wait a minute, lawyers can't be judges. So I said, oh, and she's like, are you kidding me? I've done all of this work and put everything in place and you can't do the show? And I said, wait a minute. So one of the judges believed in me and made it where I was appointed by the Supreme Court to be an ad hoc judge. And so it was, to this day, I'm blessed, unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I sought out to, I watched Judge Judy, and the thing, I love Judge Judy shows, but you're stupid. She gets you. And,
She has a different approach.
But I wanted to give more of the moral lessons. I wanted to be instrumental and say, hey, this is not the way life is. Don't commit crime. I've done a lot of criminal law.
Yeah.
I do this, but so many people are angry. So many people need the moral advice that's missing. Sometimes we can call them stupid. We can do all those things, but unless you can sit down and interact with them and give them the proper advice, then there's still a problem. There's so many problems in the world. So if you watch Cajun Court, it's not where I want it to be. However, we just keep working, and I don't give up. So here I am. It's just, God just keep on blessing the show. And with that, I've just had people around me who's been helping and see something in me, and it's been nice.
That's what I love about watching your shows is I feel like it's like if you knew that your mom was just a benevolent, fair person, and I'm fighting with my sister or whatever. Let's go to mom, and mom will fix it. And set us straight and make us think about, that's not what we should be doing.
Well, there's so many variations of the family. You have, even with Judge Wapner, as I watched him, he would say, there was siblings fighting, and he said, those are small things, and all you have is your family.
Right.
And that's what resonated with me, and I said, okay, I want to do that. I want to be able to tell somebody, because everybody, although it's the country, but everybody, we all have pretty much the same problems.
Sure.
But if you have the siblings fighting, what can you do? At the end of the day, we all we wash our face, we go to the bathroom, whatever. We all are alike in so many ways. So don't sweat the small stuff. Let's get it together. And
so this brings me to your mantra. That you wanted, your grandmother said, this is what really stuck out for me, Jackie, is that you want to die with good character.
Yes.
And then touching base about breaking bread. Like when you bring that into your courtroom, how do people respond to that?
You know what? Sometimes I have the litigants just stand and look at me.
Oh, I'm sure.
And some, your character is all you have. And that's what I learned as a kid.
Yeah.
And our foundation, is formed when we're kids.
Yeah.
And so as we grow, and there's so many people lacking that, and that's what I want to do on Cajun Court TV.
Oh, love it. I love that. I think that is a huge message.
Well, in some of the shows that I watched, they have twists that you're not expecting. and they're very touching, too. Like, you probably remember Muddy Mayhem. I don't want to spoil it for everybody, but out of the blue, at the beginning, I'm sort of rooting for one person, and then I realized, wait a minute, there was a email sent that changed everything, and everybody had their part to play, and it was very cool. So tell us about, well, first of all, how do you get these cases? Like, who comes to you and says, I'm having a fight with my mother, and she owes me $1 million. What do I do? There
are a number of ways to get them, and it's a secret somewhat.
Don't share secrets.
In the community, we'll blast out in the community, hey, look, we need some issues. We need to bring your issues before Justice Jacque. And I started off as a mediator, and that's what it's all about. Is the rules of court does not apply. I can do anything I want to do. I can make the rulings. And so what we do to get these litigants is say, hey, we put it out. And we have a lot of people. We're in Louisiana, Shreveport, Louisiana.
Very familiar.
People come from Dallas, Texas, all the way from New Orleans, and they bring the mess per se. But I like, just putting it together. So we solicit anyone who wants to come and just share their, business. And
well, I'm from Dallas, and I don't know if my neighbors don't work out. I'll be on Cajun Court.
You may see Monica in Cajun Court for sure.
Let me help
I know you won't pick sides, but
we had a show like that, and what I like to do is bring the neighbors together. And I believe there was one where The neighbors were feuding, and so, and I said, okay, you might need that. In fact, the guy, I believe, fell or something, needed help. Well, who can you call? Your neighbor.
Yeah, your neighbor.
So if you're feuding, you have no one.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just,
it's not.
That's family,
Yeah.
really, next door. You know,
That is true.
Not wise to feud with your neighbor,
That
for
is true.
sure.
Well, in fact, she encouraged, on the one I was watching, she encouraged the neighbors to get together and support each other. And I mean, it was
really paid
very nice. Of course, yes, I was. I'm addicted now to Cajun Court. I mean, I really hope that.
I'm grateful.
So you have a daughter, right?
Uh-huh.
So, and how did you raise her? Did you raise her in a no nonsense way? Did you use? We want to hear about your relationship with her.
Oh yes, very strict. And one of the things that. First of all, let me say, I grew up very poor. I grew up in Shreveport. They had this alley in Allendale. So we had nothing. So I had to work hard for everything. I wanted to be more than what society, what life, gave to me. And so with my daughter, you end up giving them everything that you don't have. And
yes, ma'am.
But I've give her so many life lessons like my mom had. But let me say this. I had her at 42. So that was a big gap, the generation gap. But I, as she grew, I would teach her these moral lessons. And just like with my mom, I didn't think my mom made sense, I'll tell you the truth, growing up. But then as I grew older, I was like, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, God, for my mom, for telling me those things. Had she not told me business come before pleasure, you reap what you sow and all those things, then I wouldn't be the person that I am today. So I try to instill those things in my daughter, which, by the way, her name is Lauren Scott, Lawryn. And sometimes she's a shy person, and I think sometimes she thinks she has to walk in my shoes.
Oh, yes.
So really, she is a celebrity.
Really good point. It's a really good point, I'm sure. Yeah,
Yes.
Well, tell us about, I'm pretty sure at Cajun Court, there's got to be some really, I've told about some of the emotional cases. There's got to be some crazy cases. Like, I recall reading about something about an alligator. Is there, and there's got to be one. If there's going to be
of course.
Well, with Louisiana, you have
what
the
are some
swamps,
of your funniest, craziest cases you've?
And the alligator ate the man's cat.
Man!
I think one of my favorite, believe it or not, I do some criminal law, and so we had one of the guys who liked to drink and would go to the store, and he liked to urinate by the tree outside. And so he had been on probation, so I had to, look, you can't just urinate by the tree. And so he looked at me, and he had this big, heavy Cajun accent, and he said, I do what I want to do, Well, we'll just let you go sit in the jailhouse for a few days.
That's why you're on probation, because you did that before.
Yes. But all in all, we have some good shows, but again, one of my favorite is, you had two sisters pretty much dating the same guy.
This is good.
So when you talk about family and one was outgoing and the one that quiet, I think kind of got, was closer to the guy. And so I had to bring them together. Then we had one with the secession where one of the daughters took all the jewelry, and the other one, but she was taking care of the mother. So sometimes, you get so many, even with practicing law, so many variation when we leave this world. Some situation, families would come together, and some they just fall apart, and a lot of it's over the material things of life. So I try to talk about those things, and it's all stuff.
Make a point of it. You bring a good point to this, because a lot of people are going to wonder, so we do have a lot of problems, right? So when you do have someone, when you do criminal law, what do you do when it is like someone that you want, the rehab of it, the person going back into society? How do we,
Right.
So,
well, yes, that's a good question, because I do a lot with criminal law in terms of drugs. The cocaine. And you have different levels of drugs, and individuals been in a situation they just can't cope, because only thing they need is just a fix or hit, and that opioid, and it's really, really bad.
Right.
And so to talk to them, some you can help. Some so far along you cannot help. But quite often I find that many of these people are lonely.
Yes.
And they really, they're lacking. Either something happened to them, in their childhood.
Connection.
They just couldn't cope. And I find myself, everybody react to problems different. Where I'm strong, someone else may be weak. So you have to look at that individual. And I've been blessed where I can almost see through them. When they come, just a few words or paragraphs, I know. Either mama did something, or the daddy did something, or the sibling did. And that person never could get over it. So I end up we're counselors anyway.
Yeah.
So it's just having the intuition just to really kind of listen to the individual and see what the core problem is.
Okay.
Now, you just mentioned where some people are strong, other people are weak. And I've left the impression on these shows that all attorneys are horrible cooks, because I am. But that's not true, because Justice Jacque's an amazing cook. And that's one of the things that you feature too. And I understand you make gumbo and share it with.
Yes.
I mean, that's another reason why I might just have a dispute with my neighbor, so I can be on Cajun
for that
Court.
reason.
It goes back to my mom. My mom worked in a private home, and she cooked. And so sometimes I would go with her, help serve the parties and all. And so it's therapy for me. So when I take the gumbo, there's so many variations of gumbo. You can have chicken sausage gumbo, you can have shrimp gumbo, you can have okra gumbo, you can just have any kind of gumbo.
You know who you sound like right now, right?
Mix everything together, take some, and that's the beauty of gumbo in Louisiana. So, and red beans and rice. I love those. I take a big bag of beans and put it in a pot, and by the time the litigants come in, and I can serve them some gumbo or some beans, and they're happy.
That's right.
It makes the day.
Breaking a barrier. Breaking a barrier. Love it.
That's great. So what do you prefer? I mean, I guess you don't prefer anything. They're all kind of interesting. But what's more challenging, when families come in before you, or when just random two women who are fighting over some guy?
Well,
what's easier?
The one of the hardest things, and I've had cases where parents work so hard for their children. And I've seen where you have parents who put their children through school. They're professionals. I mean, I have doctors come in, and the parents put the doctors through school, and they do nothing for their parents. They put nothing back into what brought them up. And so I get the opportunity to talk. Hey, look, this person, was with you, shared your life with you, made you who you are, and you cannot appreciate them by, they have to call somebody else to bring them some medicine. So
Monica and I are like, yes, we do.
Justice Jacque, I know I'm going to ask you in a second about the future of your show, but I wrote a book, and I think you should write a book on the wisdom of Justice Jacque.
I believe I can have a bestseller.
I bet you could.
I believe in you.
You could.
I sure do.
Your first autographed copy, because I think you could share some things, and I know who I would share it with.
Yes.
Some family members and neighbors. Well, we are so excited. We have other people to share your wisdom with, and that is our Zoomer moms. So let's welcome our Zoomer moms. Welcome to the Moms Club.
Hello. Hello. Hi, Jacque.
Hello.
Hey, moms. Well, let me introduce each one of you. And you introduce yourself. I'm going to just say hi and just tell us a little bit about yourself, and then ask a question of Justice Jacque. And first, we have Bahar. And before I introduce her, I have to share that Julie and I are doing something amazing this weekend, and that is going to the Gold Meets Golden event, which benefits Angel City Sports here in Los Angeles. It is a tremendous organization. Bahar is the mother of Ezra French and the face of Angel City Sports. And just as an aside, she played a mom in the Oscar-winning Best Picture Crash.
Yes.
So she has played a mom, too. But Bahar, can you tell us a little bit about Gold Meets Golden and Angel City Sports? And then if you have a question for Justice Jacque.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having us. What an honor to be here. I'm Bahar Sumac. I was an actress. At the height of my career, left my life as an actress to help raise my children. They needed a mommy more than I needed to be in film and television. So my son was born, my firstborn son was born with physical disabilities. He was born missing limbs, which was shocking. I'd never known a kid missing limbs or anything. And so when he was born, we realized that our purpose and our goal was to serve and help the disabled, physically disabled community. So we left our careers and started Angel City Sports, which gratefully you ladies will be joining us tomorrow at our big event. So the event is called Gold Meets Golden. It's an organization that throws these incredible events and parties where it is the intersection of Hollywood. So all these celebrity A-list Hollywood nominees for the Golden Globes, the Academy Awards, with some of the top sports Olympians and Paralympians, and music. And so it's a big celebration, and all the money that's being raised comes to our nonprofit. We're the beneficiary, Angel City Sports. And basically what our nonprofit does is we create sports opportunities for people with physical disabilities. So when someone has a car accident, diabetes, cancer, loses a limb, or is in a wheelchair, paralyzed in a wheelchair, they're told they have no opportunities to be active. And we know in the power of sports and transforming people's lives. So these are the opportunities we provide. And in the process, you know, we might have our future Paralympians, like my son is, who is now on the U.S. Paralympic team representing Team USA as one of the youngest athletes. So that was my quick little synopsis of what we're doing and what you guys are a part of tomorrow that we're so excited for.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we're very excited. We're really looking forward to it. It's what a great cause. Well, do you have a question for Justice Jacque?
I do. Justice Jacque. So, you know, you do such incredible work and you have such wisdom. But sometimes I would assume that there's cases that really penetrate you on a deeper level or hurt you on a deeper level. And so my question to you would be, emotionally, how do you compartmentalize, or what do you have to do when some case really sort of lingers with you and haunts you for a little bit longer? How do you manage yourself emotionally in those situations?
Well, first of all, having that strong relationship with God, you learn to separate things. You learn to you protect yourself in a sense, but you pray for that family. And the thing about it, I've been practicing law 35 years, and I've been through so many cases. So if you internalize other people's problems, then I'll be seeing a counselor myself.
That's right.
So I try to avoid that. But you put it in perspective. If someone has a problem, you deal with it, you address it, and then you move on and say, you've done everything you can, but you can't let it affect you to the sense that you can't move on yourself.
Right.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
That would make it more
that makes sense to me.
challenging.
Yeah.
LaShonda, welcome to the Moms Club. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and do you have a question for Justice Jacque?
Yes, hello. I'm LaShonda Kelly from Shreveport, Louisiana. I am a physical therapy technician here in Shreveport.
Oh.
I have you touched on it earlier, but I was going to ask you about maybe one of the funnier cases that you had on your show.
One of the funniest cases?
Where you got the giggles and you were like, just give me a minute.
Yes, I had to think back. Well, I had this one litigant to come in, and he comes in with this Daniel Boone hat on. With the fox
I knew you were going to.
And I had to say, where do you think you're going? Although it's a reality, it's not the traditional court, but you can't come in here. This is Justice Jacque. So that's one I had to pull sometimes I'll put my crown on my head. And,
Queen of the court.
This is Justice Jacque. Pull that hat out. But anyway, it was a dog fight. And this particular guy had purchased a canine, and it was supposed to have been, I believe, some type of pit bull, but a chihuahua or something, but it was
a chihuahua and pit bull.
That's a combination.
So it was a breeder. So the guy was breeding and stuff, so it wasn't what the guy bargained for. So he came in, and one of the twists to that one, actually somebody was a drug dealer, So,
God.
So that was probably my funny one. It was silly, but I had to deal with it.
Oh my God, I love it. No nonsense.
That is hilarious.
Yes.
Leslie, welcome to the Moms Club. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and do you have a question for Justice Jacque?
I do have a question. So I'm a mom from LA, and I'm a fan of the show. I'm wondering if you have any plans to make it in any other state, not just Louisiana.
Well, that's a good question. Very good question. One day I would like to be syndicated. We've worked very hard. We have a long ways to go with God and people like you all, just having the opportunity to be in front of individuals who can see something in the show, see something in Justice Jacque. We want to make a difference.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm looking forward to going state by state by state.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dakota, welcome to the Moms Club. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and do you have a question?
Hello, how are y'all? I'm from Bossier City, Louisiana. I'm also a part of Cajun Court TV, and I don't have any questions for today, but I just wanted to say how grateful I am to be a part of Cajun Court with Justice Jacque, and I'm grateful to be here today.
Thank you, Dakota.
Thank you for joining us. You're part of an awesome show, I have to say. Jennifer, welcome, and tell us a little bit about yourself, and do you have a question?
I do. Actually, so much of what happens on Cajun Court feels very near and dear to my heart because as a designer who helps people with their homes, there's always there's a lot of dispute resolution. Sometimes I feel like I'm a psychiatrist or helping the family counselor, but my favorite part of the show is how she holds people accountable. And also as a parent, you're constantly having to hold your children accountable. And, there's a version of the truth they're often trying to sell or a version of their, value in or, their position that they hold steady to. And one of the things I love about the way Judge Judy runs her court is she really brings the truth to the surface and she helps other people see their, the other person's perspective and gives value to their side of the argument. And so, Judge Judy, what's your tact? How do you do that? You kind of pull it out of people faster than I would have imagined.
And
it's, go ahead.
So, could you repeat the last sentence? I had
hard to hear.
How do you help people kind of be accountable? Like you hold people accountable and you get them to sort of speak the truth, not just their version of the truth, but, for instance, I was watching one of your shows and there was a kid who was told his mom, I'm going to class. And turns out he really wasn't going to class as much as he said he was. But you got him to admit, the full truth really
like,
quickly.
how do you pull it out of this kid? Tell us,
Yeah. Well, it's called personality. And so
It's what
at 65, you've been through quite a bit on this earth. So again, if you, it's the way your presentation with individuals from kids on up to adults as to how you make them feel by the words you say and relaxing them. Sometimes it's difficult, but just, you just have to keep on until you know that there's something they need to hear that's going to make them interact with you. If that's the answer to your question, if I understand it right, that sometimes it's difficult, but you keep on and talking to these individuals, let them know that you can help if they would give you the opportunity.
Because sometimes I was watching some episodes and you feel like, I know he's playing her. He thinks that, I'm so sorry. I feel so bad. But do you really feel bad? But you kind of get them a place where they finally admit, like I won't name any episodes because you need to watch every one of them. But there was one where the dad, I think he finally came around to.
Yes. That's a drug problem. Yes, I remember.
That he did a really bad thing and he needed to fix it. Yeah. And at first he was crying and whatever, and I'm like, I don't know. He's still not fixing it.
I like your approach. You said, I make these people feel comfortable. Where for me, as a mom, not, a judge, I would probably be like, this is not my first rodeo. Like, I know, what I mean? So relaxing, making them feel comfortable, and to tell the truth.
That is true.
And to
to
make
Jennifer's
them understand
point.
there are moral issues to everything we do.
Yeah.
Yes,
And even
ma'am.
with the situation with the guy, I remember what happened was he charged on the child's credit card. Her credit was bad. He had a drug problem.
Yeah.
And so in the end, I brought them together. She didn't want to hug him at the end.
Yeah, she was still a little mad because
he messed her credit up.
And she knew what was going on at home. He wasn't, according to her, he wasn't being as nice about it at home as he was there in front of Justice Jacque.
But all the time we put on a facade in front of sometimes we interject outside of the family than we do at home. But I really try to bring people together on the show. And then with children, it's a little bit difficult because they're developing.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's hard. You don't know what's going on in the home, and so you can't really pinpoint. Sometimes they'll talk to you and sometimes they won't.
Right.
But sometimes I try to avoid a lot of children.
Well, but in Muddy Mayhem, the kid was
Monica's
the one
really
who was
stuck on this Muddy Mayhem.
I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it again. I'm going to keep watching it. Well, I can't even believe this has been awesome and it's been amazing. I love your show. Everybody go on YouTube and find episodes of Cajun Court. And where else can they find it?
Oh, well, they can Facebook. They can find YouTube is best now. You all help me get syndicated. It'll be all over.
That's right.
And so, I appreciate some of the judges, but I really think I have a better show. And of course, I was going to say that, but there's so many opportunities. What I do is different than most shows. You will see it coming up in our new episodes. It's going to be exciting.
You are very no-nonsense, very zen, very peaceful, and I believe that this is going to be a big thing.
I'm thinking there's going to be syndication here, and I think someday there's going to be a little girl sitting there watching it all the time on her iPad saying, I want to be Justice Jacque. That's who I want. I want to go to law school, and that's what I want to do. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, you mentioned that I cook, and I brought something for you. These are pralines that I
Oh,
made.
my gosh.
And what you can do, in fact, there's a QR code. You can
wow. Well,
click on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
You made these.
I made them.
Thank you
in my kitchen, and I was.
I mean,
I made
these
them.
pralines are going right down in the belly as soon as I can have it.
Died and gone to heaven.
That's right,
people. This is amazing.
Just take me with you.
I think it's going to be the other way around. You're halfway. You know what I mean? You're a good person.
I think so. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And quick note for those of you who check out our Instagram page at Inside the Moms Club, we have sponsors offering amazing items to give to you. So just keep checking in on Instagram and sign up to win some fabulous things. Well, once again, we are out of time, and I can't even believe it. This has been so much fun and gone by so fast, but that's what always happens. But we'll be back next time with more celebrities and incredible moms just like you. We know that your me time is precious and valuable. Thank you so much for spending it with us. Remember the Moms Club motto, which Julie and I had to really keep telling ourselves
deep on this one
last week. If you don't laugh sometimes, you're gonna cry. So keep laughing out there, moms. We'll see you next time inside the Moms Club.
Thank you.